wow.
ER34.
My jaw dropped. Wow. Wow.
D1SL street car.
Wow. Wow.
Top secret GT300 Supra.
Wow.
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 One of two key office cars.
That's wild. Wow. Wow.
BR R32-4.
Wow.
D1 GP Grand Champ.
Wow.
The Signal Auto R34.
Wow. Wild. Wild. What's going on, guys? Brian ESR here in Bridgeport, Connecticut at Redline Restorations, and the JDM fanboy inside of me is about to geek out. This is just a little preview of what we're about to go see inside. JDM Legends is all I could say is a sneak peek. I've seen it all on Instagram, on social media, and I'm pumped to finally come out here and see everything in person. And importantly, I got a fresh cheese pie to deliver from Frank Pepe Pizza. Let's go bring it inside. Pizza delivery. What's up, Colt?
Thank you, man.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
This is actually the first time I'm meeting Colt, so thank you for the invite. Thanks for having us, and thank you for recommending Frank's. I've heard about this, so it's actually funny when I asked what pie should we get. Crack it open.
Bust this tape free, bro. See what she's working with.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I actually asked them. This is the first time I ever did it. When I called, I said, I'll take a large pie of whatever you recommend. Kind of crazy how they cut the slices too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a whatever, I guess. It's almost like garlic bread.
That's a little unique.
Oh yeah. Let's see some cars first.
Behind this mask, my jaw dropped. I was just saying outside, the JDM fanboy inside of me is gonna geek out today because, dude, from seeing these cars in videos and magazines for over 20 years, I'm standing next to them in Connecticut, not in Japan, which is even crazier. To even have one of them is nuts.
It's wild, yeah. But we've got quite a few here.
1, 2, 3, 4 top secret cars, 1 signal car. Where do we start?
In the BR, Goodyear car. So let's start with the first one in line here. This is an ER34 Skyline. Many people think like, oh, you know what, GTRs were done in 2 doors and they were also done in 4 doors. They were never done in the R34. And Smokey Nagata actually took it upon himself with his team to build a 4-door GTR. So this car is an RB26 stroker with an all-wheel drive GTR setup, GTR rear quarter panels, front fenders, front bumper, rear bumper. It made somewhere around 800 horsepower to the wheels, and it was actually an RH9 car. So Smokey had built this, and I've got photos of him building this back in 2002 for the Tokyo Auto Salon. So this was their show car. It was painted in what they call the quote-unquote bling bling gold for the event. And top secret livery on the side of it, GTR brakes, 2-piece rotors. There's still a lot to be done on this car. It's sat for quite a number of years.
For all these cars here, are you planning to fully restore them, drive them, or is this just a museum? You're buying them and park them and let people come and see them?
Yeah, so it was never the intention to do the whole museum thing. Again, this is going back like 15 years ago. This car that's directly to your right, we'll get to that. It was a car that I've owned for the better part of, I want to say 10 or 11 years now. And since then, as you know, as we all are with hobbies, we become very passionate about it. We end up buying one thing or collecting one item, and then we seem to collect more. And
well, some people do it with toys, some people do it with trading cards, some people do it with sneakers. You're just doing it on a whole nother level with JDM Legend cars.
Exactly. I'm treating these things almost as like animals, you know. You see cat ladies, they got 250 plus cats. I mean, like, this is definitely a good problem to have. But again, with every build, the parts were very special to the vehicle, and if they're broken, they take twice as long to repair or fix. So I've been into the restoration game by trade at a Concourse level for the better part of 20 years. So I know exactly what it takes to build, find, source, or, you know, recreate just unobtainium parts.
Wow, wow. Outside of just these legendary Japanese cars right here, you have an impressive collection of a variety of foreign domestic cars going on over there. Not to mention, I see how deep this is over here. But let's stick to the Japanese cars for now.
Yeah. So this is Redline Restorations showroom. You walk right in the front door. The vehicles over to the side are vehicles on consignment. We broker, we build, restore, customize. The vehicles over to the side here are just personal vehicles, my own collection. So look forward to seeing a little more of this in the near future with different cars.
Would these be for sale if somebody was interested?
I mean, probably not. It's a lot of sentimental value behind it. Yeah.
People could shoot their shot.
Exactly.
All right, all
let
right.
them shoot away.
All right.
This is the 2004 D1 GP Grand Champ. Again, built by Top Secret. You can see a lot of the details on the glass. Grand Champ, what it's won, where it's been, what it's done. I'll pop the hood over here. It's kind of like...
Does Smokey Nagata know you own all these cars?
He does know, but I've never reached out and been like, hey, like, you know, I own this stuff, because it's just, it's not, you know, it's not the most humble thing to do. Check out underneath the hood.
Smokey, if you're watching this video, this is Colt. He's over here in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Doing my thing. So this car was all done in a V-mount setup or design. Guys are just starting to do this on street cars today. Back in the day, this was very innovative stuff. Tech that no one had experienced on a street car. So they had brought it to a more, how can I say, a domestic scene and also the racetrack, and they were absolutely killing it. You ultimately reduce your boost lag to virtually nothing.
And as we're going through the cars here, you said you got the Signal car 10, 11 years ago. Did you purchase all these like one lot or one at a time?
Like, the S15s are, I mean, they're around, you can buy them. I reached out to a friend who has a business and had owned it for quite some time. It's actually used in a few of the Forza Motorsport video games. This was one of the unicorn cars you could get, and I actually played it in the game before I owned it. It's like, yo, shit, you gotta be kidding me. Like, it's a car I always dreamed of. I'd seen it on multiple option and D1 videos. And just, you know, I was lucky enough, I was blessed to have the option or the opportunity rather than purchase it, and I made it happen.
And not only, well, you got one S15 here, I see another one right over there.
Yeah, so there's two S15s that were built. This is the D1 GP, and that's considered the street league car, but they were sisters. And it's absolutely nuts that both of them are actually under the same roof. This is the first time in like 20 years they've been together.
Wild, wild.
So this is the Signal Auto R34.
Commercial break. You can get this turbo wing fitted and this hoodie on eatsleeprace.com. We've got a whole collection of men's and ladies apparel, tons of accessories. And for the kids, make sure you check out our Fast Kids Club collection. We got our ABC book and our 1, 2, 3 book. Tons of apparel and accessories.
Back in 2000, it was built specifically for the underground street racing scene over in Japan. It ran 10-mile Wang Gang runs. It was kind of like the unsung hero of the early 2000s, and during that big tuner boom of the early 2000s, it went from underground street racing, quasi-champ, to time attack, also was hammering out some drag racing, and then it did an attempt on drifting. It was a Tomy 2.8 Genesis stroker motor. It's got Alcon, like one of only 3 to 10 sets of Alcon brakes that were built for the R34. This car's got that set. A Hollinger sequential 6-speed transmission. It's got a diff. I believe the differential in it right now is like a Nissan Pathfinder. They found Pathfinder diffs for D1 GP. And it was just a strong bulletproof transmission that they were running forever. The car had done a handful of 8-second passes in the quarter mile at its best on BF Goodrich drag radials, which was like unheard of. And yeah, so she sits here today. She's been through it all, and I don't know of any other cars that have done quite as much as this thing has and lived to tell the tale. So this car it's in drift form still. RB26, however, it's 28 converted stroker, and it put out roughly 600 horsepower in drift form. which is nothing in comparison to what the vehicles are making now. But it was all about balance, weight, and I want to say just really your entry with vehicles like this. But now they're all at that 1,000 horsepower range. I didn't restore it. This is exactly as you see it, as it raced. The cracks are still in it. That was all in it before I got it. Front lip, side skirts, the damage from the rear gas cap, that rear tail light. That's from where scuffed the wall back in, I want to say 2007, 2008. It was in the Fast and Furious, the Tokyo Drift. It was actually in the garage scene.
All right, by now we've only spoken about 3 cars. The amount of knowledge that Colt has about these cars in general, I gotta ask, how do you know all this stuff?
It's a lot of years of just best motoring DVDs. I mean, I kind of grew up in that 2000 boom, and then always grew up just like dreaming about, you know, half the stuff that I watched.
Needless to say, Colt is a true enthusiast. I mean, his knowledge is on a different level. Everything that he's talking about, I'm learning. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the stories on the rest of these cars. But keep watching, because this is some real JDM knowledge that he's spitting right now.
This car here is an R32. It's the BR R32-4, they called it. Back in the early 2000s, they developed a conversion kit for the R32 to make it look as if it was an R34. So it was something that was going to present itself a lot differently than anything else on the track. An R32 that looked like an R34, that was going to generate some sort of conversation. The color of the car, bright yellow, like, hey, look at me. And also the fact that they were selling these body kits. So these conversions were actually made by BR. So they were able to market the kit, market their endeavors on their D1 GP endeavors, their race endeavors, to the point that a stateside company such as Goodyear Tire came on board, and everyone else, as you can see down the side of the car. And this car, it wasn't a champ by any means, but it was definitely at the forefront of some of the more iconic vehicles of the mid-2000s. This was like a real do-it-yourself, hey, I don't have that kind of money yet, however, I definitely want to look and play the part. And that's what they did, and everyone jumped on board. It's really cool. Inside, I'll crack the door for you. Got pieces of the Supra roll cage in there. Just found that now. Carbon fiber door panels.
And all the cars are running.
Yeah, all the cars run. They're all very reliable. Yeah.
Have you had to work on them, or when you got them, they were all ready to go?
I've worked on the signal car. I've had to replace a rear differential on it. You can see in the back, like, completely changed the look. It's the R32 rear. This right here is the Smokey Nagata built top secret GT300 Supra, which has been clocked at doing 232 miles an hour, which is extremely fast. It is a 4-cylinder. Not too many people actually know that they built 3 Supras. And out of the 3 cars, one was an RB that he got pulled over in, which is over in the Middle East right now. The second car is at a friend's location in Florida. That's the 12-cylinder car. And this is what their attempt was on a time attack or circuit car. The other 2 vehicles were street cars, just with gobs of power. Some brake, suspension, performance modifications, but out of the 3 vehicles, it's not so much debatable that this car has got more R&D into it than the other vehicles. It's got AP Racing brakes, again, which are just non-existent. The motor had made 750 horsepower out of a 3S GTE, essentially an MR2 engine, V-mount style radiator, and it was one of the lightest Supras ever built outside of like the Tom's JGTC Supra, and this was built basically to replicate the JGTC Tom Supra. the Castrol Supra. To take a look at how the back was developed on this, like you can see the rear, these are just all like carbon fiber speed panels to actually channel this thing at over 200 miles an hour. D1 SL street car is over here. We'll just hit that thing quick. But everything is like a street car. It was built in such a way that it still made all the safety requirements of like D1 GP, like almost. However, it had to have like a full interior, carpet, door panels, light structure rigidity as far as like roll cage is concerned. The engine bay had to be stitch welded, only up to a certain point, like the firewall. But for the most part, this car has got everything a race car does, including like the fuel system, a multi-pump, and a surge tank system, which is like crazy for a street car. Carbon fiber panels, lightweight, like this is enough to do some serious work on a track or a time attack. And it was still considered a street car. Again, HKS 2.2 stroker, SR20, V-mount setup. Actually got something pretty cool here. See one of these things every day.
You got a top secret umbrella? That's cool.
Damn right, right?
Just as rare as these cars.
It's cool. They're essentially twins. The engine, the V-mount setup, turbo, manifolds, intake manifold. I mean, like everything is a lot like the other vehicle. Stitch welded chassis in the front, the suspension, carbon fiber hood, the hood releases. It's just the only difference between the two really is the labels, the livery on it was done in black lettering and not in white.
So for you to have two of basically the same car, I gotta ask why.
It's hard to explain.
This is just
gotta,
collecting
like, yeah,
on
this
a...
is on some like some real addicted hobbyist enthusiast shit level.
Which is awesome. I love it. I love it.
You just can't explain.
Yeah, I love it.
Why you gotta do, you know, can't you just do one drug? You gotta do them all.
I love it.
Like,
that's so awesome. And is this all like the legendary JDM cars that you have, or I mean, just
no,
like
I've got some stuff in the back that cars that I were planning on, as I mentioned, like swapping out within the next like 45 days or so, just having some clean, constant rotation of vehicles. I built this car back in 2010 for a client, and it's come back here just for light service work. But it's a 71 Fiat 500, wide bodies, all done in steel. No
was this all
fiberglass.
to your design, or
Yeah.
did they have it in mind?
No, it's all our design.
Wow.
And what's more important to this entire thing is that it's got a
Oh, is that a B series?
Yeah, B16B.
Which
Honda
normally
Civic.
you see in Mini Coopers. You see the Honda swaps in the Mini Coopers.
Yeah,
but-
this is a B16B
Yeah.
Type R motor, and
Oh, it's a Type R too.
yeah, it's tuned by a Honda. It's got a JDM 5-speed limited slip differential.
Wow.
And the car makes roughly 200 horsepower all motor, which is a lot for a 1.6.
And look at this. It's so tight on the inside that the seats are overlapping. I'm kind of nervous what we're about to go see in the back over here. Wow. Do you see how far back that goes? Cool. By the time right now, people are asking, what is going on here? I mean, there's a full service desk.
Yeah,
I see a shop back there.
We've got full service. We have an entire basement that's roughly the size of this room here. It is 100 hours a week with me here at a minimum. I have to. There's a lot going on here. We'll go down this one first. You'll see everything from domestic to foreign, JDM, and that's not a car I own. That's actually a car that came in on consignment. Super clean Datsun with 280D with no miles on it. This Tommy Mackin is something
Wow.
that I picked up a year and a half ago. It's got a set of RS3 wheels on it. Had to wait roughly 6 months to get the wheels.
Wow.
Light
And
mod,
where did this one come from?
This one came from UK.
And it looks pristine. Did you restore that, or?
It's not bad. No, actually, I just revitalized a lot of the original stuff that was on it.
Wow.
The car's got like 75,000 miles or so. But I've done everything from Olin suspension to Force Performance turbo on it. Like, it's got some go fast stuff. 22B, this is actually a client's car. We've got 2 of them here. People don't even see one of these in their entire life, let alone 2. This is number 399 out of 400, so it was the second to last car the Subaru built.
Wow.
Subaru typically keeps the first one they build and the last one they build, just for their own like heritage program. But what I'm going to show you soon will refute everything I just told you.
Wow. All right.
Not mine, customer's car. This is an LS swapped FD. Done very right, but more of like a time attack circuit mode. It's got all the right parts on it. This specific car is in for storage, but if and when before it leaves, we'll do things such as oil change. We'll do a full inspection to make sure that she's safe for the track. Date specs on the tires, diff fluid, stuff like that. I mean, like the real essentials that the DFDs need.
And this is, for everyone who's watching, this is a serious operation. This isn't just Colt hanging out with a bunch of his friends. How many people would you say work here?
30.
30?
30, yeah.
30 full-time staff.
This was Mitsubishi's turnkey, ready to go vehicles that they offered to the public to run like the Baja 1000 with. Yeah, so you can take this from the dealership and run it in the desert. Mitsubishi back in the late 90s were at the top of any rally game. Even to this day, they hold the recipes for some of the world's best rally cars. They just choose not to build them today. It's weird.
Collection car, or?
Yeah, collection car. Comes with Recaro seats. These are actually factory to the vehicle from the dealer.
I went to Mecum Auto Auctions in Vegas. I literally feel like I'm at the Mecum show right now. So this is the one you were just talking about.
Yeah, so this is Subaru 22B000 out of 400. This car was built in 1997, far before any of the other 22Bs were built. And it was for Subaru. They built it as a promotional car for the Tokyo Auto Salon in '98.
Because shouldn't Subaru own this?
They should. They're probably mad that they don't own it now.
Wow.
But I haven't put too much up about the car. It's extremely significant. I mean, it's probably the most significant Subaru of all time.
Wow, wow.
And it's only got 58 kilometers on it since new. Hasn't even broke 100 miles yet.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty wild, yeah. Come over on this side, to pop the door open, you could see the little plaque above the shifter.
All right, here we go.
Zoom in on it.
Right there, guys. Wow. So this is pre-production.
This is pre-production, yep.
And you own it.
Before they even knew what to call this car, they had no badges for it. So like, they had an idea what they were going to be called, the 22B, but there was no placement for the badges. They actually had no real design of the 22B. This is the...
Yeah, let's not ignore what's going on this back wall right here.
Yeah, the key office. So this was like, so Best Motoring had come out in the late 90s. This was the car that started his proteges, or his, I want to say, Tsuchiya's right-hand man was a gentleman by the name of Kazama. And Kazama was known as the rodeo drifter. He was one of the industry's biggest prodigies, drifters. He was like the end-all back in the early drifting days. You've got guys, professional drifters even to this day, guys in motorsports, feel like, you know, Kazama was the end-all. So before this car was actually went and painted green, Tsuchiya and his buddy Kazama owned the vehicle, and it was dark blue. And he was doing a lot of like the toge battles, the verses, and the test runs in that blue. Then they took the car, they painted it green, and formed Key Office. And this is the one of two Key Office cars. This is the only one in existence that's still green. It started Kazama's drifting career. It is probably one of the most, I want to say like the most coveted drift cars of all time, debatably. Yeah, this is like some real deal culture stuff right here. It was on various DVDs like the Drift Bible.
And how did you end up with this?
This car was all the way in Norway, like 4 hours away from civilization. And it was like someone had posted something up on Facebook of just driving by someone else's yard with no address, and it led to us actually tracking the vehicle down, making an offer that the owner couldn't refuse.
Was it owned by an enthusiast that lived in the middle of nowhere?
Just an individual, an enthusiast, yeah, that was looking to restore the car and tear all this stuff down. But I did find the umbrella that Kazama rode through as just like a victory lap parading around one of the tracks over in Japan, and that's actually the umbrella from the event. So,
And that didn't come with the car, you found that on its own.
Thousands of dollars into umbrellas already, I know.
That's wild. Well, I mean, the umbrellas are part of the culture, so
Right?
if...
So this guy here, which is, I mean, at first glance, it doesn't seem to be much, but this is probably a car that you'd even recognize. Like, if I just open up the door jam, you get an idea of the blue. So this car was originally and the only surviving Falcon FD car.
Oh!
Yeah, this is actually the Falcon RX-7.
No way.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So whoever bought it rewrapped it?
So it was owned, went from Falcon to an enthusiast out in California. Gentleman by the name of Noah Nelson. Underneath the hood, it's all still the Falcon blue. Mechanically, it was well kept. I will say that. But everything else needs a lot of love. What I'm going to do is take off the wrap, because underneath this wrap is all here. You can come over here. What I'll do is, underneath all this wrap is the Falcon car, and it was actually painted.
Oh, it was painted then.
Painted, yeah. So a lot of guys would just put stickers. So I'm gonna redo it, and it's gonna go to Sevens Day in New York City.
So it sounds like you're gonna get it done pretty soon.
Yeah, I've got a couple months, but that's not a problem. I'll bang it out. So this is the last time you'll see this car looking like this. You will notice it's got Cactus Jack on the front of the bumper.
Yeah.
It was in Travis Scott's music video, I think Jack Boys. This was in that video. Towards the end, everyone's sitting on the cars and around.
Yeah.
This is one of the cars.
How can I lose? How can I lose? How can I lose?
It went from the set to here. This car right here, this is Chris Forsberg's, it was Chris Forsberg's champ car, carbon fiber Z. It's got none of the NOS decals on it right now. I just got a massive shipment of decals. So we're gonna put it back to.
You're gonna make it the NOS livery.
Yeah, the NOS look. So it went to the Formula Drift Championship, won it, and then went to the World and won the world title, which was crazy. And then it actually, funny enough, it went to the Cactus Jack Boys video shoot. This is the Gum Out car. This is the notorious.
So you
car.
bought Turk's car?
Yeah, he was getting rid of it last year. And I had painted this car back in the day when it was still white. Shot some areas of the car, all the gray that you see up here. So all of these exterior panels weren't on the car at that time, but I painted all the spray. I've got pictures in the spray booth shooting this thing for him. And he's like, yo, I'm getting rid of the car. Like, you know, I hit him up right away. You know, what are we talking here? And it's kind of just like kept it in the family. I've known Ryan for a few years. And what we've done is we've just, you know, periodically we've taken it out on the track to kind of like shake it down.
Did Redline start with you, or has this been in the family?
It started with me back in 2003. So I've been doing this for the better part of almost 20 years. Like I'm just like 2 years shy of our 20th anniversary. And I was in Stanford doing it on a much smaller scale. So I started doing collision work, and then collision work turned into side jobs, and side jobs, restoration turned into more cars setting up and lined up down the street. And you know, I had a few neighbors call the police on me, call like the town. So I had no other option but just to actually start like looking at buildings and properties and doing this work for myself.
Wow.
On like a more full-time basis.
Wow.
So this is, you know, this is us here now.
And this operation has been at this level for how many years?
Not at this level. I mean, it's been at its capacity of each location I've been at. And I picked up this location here within the last 3.5 years. And it was probably at 25% capacity. Now it's to the point that I've got to look to expand. Yeah, there's no more space in here at all.
Not to mention, you said there's a full basement the same exact size of what we're looking at here.
Right underneath us, there's additional car lifts, there's a spray booth.
Can we check it out?
There's 15 techs. Yeah, we'll check it out. That car right there it's going to be an RWB build.
No, don't do it. Just leave it.
I know, that's what everyone says. I was on the first one to his US visit back in April. And Nakai ended up canceling all his stateside stuff due to transit, due to COVID. I painted this car like 5 years ago in this acid green. I mean, it's all carbon Kevlar, so I did all the backdate to it. It's actually an 81. Did all the backdate stuff myself. Carbon Kevlar bumper, fenders, hood, deck lid, rear bumper. This car weighs next to nothing. I built the motor. It's a 3.1 liter stroker engine, pistons, rods, downdraft levers, and it looks like a 73 RS. So you have to do the backdate in order to pull off one of the RWB kits that I have like stuffed away in the back, just awaiting for the build. So I've waited so long. 5 other Porsches have been painted this color since. I'm going to completely scrap the acid green idea, and I'm going to go with another look that
wow.
no one is going to be ready for.
It's for me. It breaks my heart when you cut them up after that you just fresh painted them.
I know, dude. Low mileage Evo that I picked up. I'm kind of like a daily driver. It's only got 18,000 miles on it. In 03, lightning yellow. It's a 1-year only color, and it's probably the hardest color to find out. So I've got another Toyota Celica, similar to the one that you probably saw outside. And it's almost fun. So you can see the white part right there. I used to take this thing on like Bear Mountain runs and just anything that I could. It's got a beam swap in it as well, and turbo.
Wow.
So you can't find any parts for vehicles like this. You have to just custom build it from scratch. The swap was actually done in collaboration with a buddy of mine over at Petrolworks. Shout out to Mo. 2-piece rotors and brakes. Custom cage work by a buddy of mine over at 88 Labs. And Watson Abbey wheels. So this is kind of like a close version of what like Smokey Nagata built back in the day with a white 76 GT, very similar too. But these cars are great. They look like baby Mustangs.
Crazy.
They're just so quick. Power to weight ratio, you put anything in them and they can move.
Looks so good.
Yeah. You want to go in here?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. He said, "Do you want to go in here?" Of course, we want to go in here.
So this is like the assembly / mechanics stuff that's quick to turn around. Going to the right here. This is a Datsun 510 wagon with an SR20 swap in it. It was a SEMA build. Some SEMA builds don't, you know, obviously, you know, you can get them from point A to point B, but they're not the greatest daily driver. This vehicle here was picked up off a race car driver as well. We picked it up, brought it on Bring a Trailer, and sold it subsequently to an owner that's out in Cali. So the vehicle's going to be going back out in Cali. We're going to do some light electrical work, some gauge repair, and make it suitable for daily use. But very fast, makes about 350 to 400 horsepower. This is a
Wow, yeah.
Porsche wide body that we built on 993, and it's painted in Avis blue. It's still utilizing the all-wheel drive system, and it's got a Chevrolet LS small block in it.
All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
Wow. Very cool. Sheesh.
Something we built in-house from scratch. So it's
So how, like this car, for example, how did this start off? Was it?
It was a customer had that's got a bad battery on that thing. This thing bad. It was picked up by a client who had kind of fallen short on his passion for the project. And at that stage, some of the flare work was done. I think gentlemen over at Boost Logic had picked it up, and I had a client that was interested, another client that was interested in the car, like picking up on where the project left off. We had contacted the guys out in Boost Logic, brought the car to Connecticut once again, and we're in the process of finishing up the build.
Sick.
Everything from Broncos to Chevy special deliveries. It's a Supra personal project of mine, limited edition, anniversary edition that I've been building on the side, but I haven't had so much. This one's just kind of sitting on it, but you can peek under there and kind of just go into the moon with it. Yeah, like I don't have time for anything else, right?
What is going on this one right here?
So that's that is actually Elvis Presley's limo.
What?
Yeah, it was a gift to Elvis from one of his managers, wedding gift. He actually drove around with the family in that for years.
Was this a customer's car? Is this your car?
Customer's car, yeah.
And now they just want a full restoration on it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, going downstairs.
Dirtier, it's louder. This is all welding and fabrication. We've got this protective screen over it just to kind of like shield visitors from the bright lights of welding, TIG welding, or grinding even. That right there is a car of mine. I haven't touched it in a while. I've been meaning to get it done. It's an RX3 that I built with a 3-rotor motor.
Nice.
Just hanging out right now. Mustang, almost like a chrome on build. Mercedes, G-Wagon convertible build. We're doing this spray with obviously. Another Mustang. This is also like a primer bodyboard. A lot of the dusty jobs at a larger scale are kept in that room. Go to like a Concourse level event in Pebble Beach or Amelia Island.
Wow.
People don't understand like how big these cars are, and that even the Rolls Royces existed back in the 20s and 30s. It's a mammoth.
So something like this will end up at Pebble Beach.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
So projects like these, I mean, we're talking $1 million projects. Is this something only you want to get your hands on, or you got guys you trust on this?
Yeah, we've got guys that are I could say like jacks of all trades. They're versed in new cars. They're also versed in old. We also have guys that are specific to pre-war stuff. So collectively, we're able to bang stuff out like this at a moment's notice.
That's awesome.
Related work, or like paint work, flares, lips, all that fun stuff. Maserati 3500 GT. One of maybe 50 cars in the States. 50 cars built, rather. Again, another Concourse style related item. And six. We'll go over our clean collection. This is one of our guys, one of the best we did. Bel Air resto mod project, so it's all custom race chassis. I think it's on like a roadster shop chassis. Corvette / Z06 suspension and torsion bars and all the other fun stuff. Little disc brakes. Another big patty. Another Ferrari that we got to get ready to go to a show within the next 6 months. Ferrari 512 BBI, Bugatti. It looks like an airplane. Again, older stuff. So we're very versed on new, medium, and old. Old Crash Healy engine on an engine stand.
You said this is a Bugatti?
Yeah, it's a Bugatti. It's 36 Atlantic.
Wow.
Yeah, these cars are actually designed and built based off airplanes. So if you look at the front windshield, it's a very similar design.
Yeah.
You can see on like old school airplanes.
And what motor is that?
That's a straight 6-cylinder, and that's to a Nash Healy Le Mans race car that we actually did very well with back in the 2019 circuit. There wasn't much obviously going on with COVID last year, but we brought it out to Pebble Beach, Quail, Amelia Island in Florida. We did a buttload of events and did really well with the car. And this is actually just a side engine that's going to be used for the vehicle when it's raced overseas.
Wow.
Pretty wild, right? We'll actually go through.
And there's more.
Secret door here. This actually, I don't even know if they. This is the backside of like a welding room. So like English wheels, planishing hammers, a lot of like the wide body flares and stuff that you see on those cars upstairs were rolled out on this equipment here. It's another Mercedes-Benz that we're restoring.
So Colt, where does your expertise lie?
Metal repair, I did it for the better part of 5 or 6 years straight. Sheet metal fabrication to English wheels to metal brakes, plenishing hammers, all of that crazy technical stuff, metal formation. And then I moved on to body work for another, I want to say 5 or 6 years. Got the best that you could possibly get at that. Not, you know, trying to toot my own horn, but I've been doing it for long enough in that realm of Concourse that it's got to be straight, it's got to be nice. On to mechanical, and then the engine swaps, and you know the blown motors, differentials, and all that fun stuff that you see with the JDM cars that I've been doing since day one. Electronics, ECUs. You put all that stuff together. There's only one other item that I left out, was interior work. I did interior work for the tune of 2 years. So I know exactly how to talk to a guy. If someone or one of my guys like, hey, listen, it's not possible. I've got the ability to just pick up whatever tool they're working on, show them how it should be done.
How did you end up getting the Concourse builds? I mean, we're talking serious money.
Yeah, so when I was doing collision work back on my first location, the owner of that shop actually owned a big collection for himself, about 50 cars. And what I was doing, I was restoring those cars on the side. And he was bringing his friends in. I was doing their cars in collaboration with other people and other customers. Other employees rather. The clients had brought new clients. They were psyched with the work, and it was just like, again, word of mouth. So,
Like that Rolls Royce, for example, the purple one.
I was working on that thing all Sunday. That was my project Sunday.
And that would go for millions, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the cost of the project would be, you know, expensive. It's all debatable depending on how far or the extent the restoration is needed.
Right.
But ultimately, when it's done, the vehicle is probably worth somewhere in that $1.5 to $2 million range. Yeah, we can just go around. That car we just did Amelia Island with. It's a chaparral race car. Ferrari over on the side, another 512. And then this lounge here is going to be built out in such a fashion that people could just come here, hang out, not have to, I mean, it's like a home away from home.
And what is this right here?
This is a Ferrari short wheelbase Berlinetta coupe body. So it's a body to like a $15 million car. We still have to like clean out the rest of this stuff upstairs. Again, it's like a constant work in progress. Old buildings need something all the time. Right now it's just for files, but at some point to create and generate content for the business. It overlooks all the cars that you'd seen, you and I both walk through below.
What is it, a full library?
Another side to the library, so we basically got like a lot of the information.
Oh, this is a legitimate library.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put on a light for you. A lot of like the information on some of the builds that we do or the restorations. You can only find them on books. There's a lot of stuff that you can't even find online about vehicles. So yeah, this is the information center.
And how often are these books referenced?
I mean, on projects like the Rolls Royce or the Bugatti or some of the Rolls Royce, the Maseratis that we're working on, they're used often. Yeah, probably at least once a week. Road and track, like every road and track that was built from commencement to and except for the really new stuff. I think they switched to like online only.
The amount of experience and knowledge that you have and what you've built here, it's mind-blowing.
Thank you.
Mind-blowing. Guys, you got to follow him on Instagram right here. So you've had this before. What do you give it? Solid numbers, 1 to 10.
This is a solid 8, yeah.
All right, now I'm excited. Oh, that was good. You know what it is? It's their sauce. The sauce is what hits on it.
A little bit of everything, yeah.
I know.
Even cold.
I'll give it an 8, guys. Give it an 8. No, this is legit.
No.
This was a large pie. Colt smashed this pie. I think that just says,
He's lying, bro.
I helped out. That just says how good of a pie this
Good
was.
stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It's an 8.
Shout out to Frank Pepe. If you guys ever come to Redline Restorations and check out the museum area, 5 minutes down the street, check it out. Definitely,
Don't bring me any pizza because I'm gonna be a fat ass.